Pantheon Talent Consulting. We're absolutely delighted that everybody could join us, and we hope that you find the hour that we're going to spend informative and very interesting. We want to keep it interactive, so we will have a Q&A session at the conclusion. So if you want, there's a chat button at the bottom of the screen if you want to send me any questions you have through the presentation, and we can address those, as many as we can, at the end of the presentation, at the end of this particular event. So I want to welcome Sean Connolly. We're delighted to have Sean with us today. Sean is a very preeminent performance coach and business coach and wellness coach who has a litany of clients across sport, business, the arts over many years. Still very fresh face, so plenty of years to go, Sean. So welcome. I suppose, look, Sean will do a more comprehensive introduction of himself once he starts his presentation, but we're very delighted that Sean has joined us today. I believe that he will have some very thought-provoking content for us as we go forward. For those of you that are not familiar with Pantheon Talent Consulting, I'll just give you a little overview of who we are. We were set up last year as a result of an acquisition that we've taken on, and we are a talent acquisition, talent management and business consultancy with over 60 years collective experience in talent management. We have worked, I suppose, in Ireland and across the globe, so we have a reach that is local and international. Our core competencies or our core specialisms would be across technology, accountancy and finance, and on the life science, engineering, food area, and also on sales and commercial on our talent acquisition side. And our consultancy side at the moment is very heavily weighted towards wellness. And we had that set up even before the pandemic. So it's been very topical, I suppose, given what we've had to deal with over the last 12 months or so. So I suppose we're very much built around the partnership model. So our whole ethos is to partner with both the companies and the professionals that we deal with for a long-term partnership and to add value to business and to the individuals concerned. So we look at embedding ourselves with companies and organizations and adding real value in that partnership model. And our motto is applied excellence, as you've seen from the website, and we apply this to everything we do on a daily basis. Our core values, integrity, transparency, honesty, and excellence, they underpin everything that we do. And I think that's the differentiator that we're trying to establish in the marketplace, is that it's the partnership model. It's not a transactional model, and it's very much about the long term and adding value to all stakeholders within any process. Our business consultancy side is obviously an area that we're looking to grow, and obviously we feel that there's a lot of opportunity, I suppose, to deliver really bespoke consultancy services across wellness, personal development, career coaching, etc. So that's a little bit of us. I suppose that, as somebody said to me last week, you guys worked from Ballybunion to Beijing. So I suppose, we've done assignments from the United States all across EMEA into Asia over the last 12 months. So I think maybe we'll put that as a tagline. Ballybunion to Beijing maybe is going to be the next tagline for us. I suppose the reason for this particular webinar is in the context of the year that we've all had to endure, the challenges that COVID and the pandemic have created in our personal lives, in our work lives, across the globe, the challenges we have in terms of disseminating information, looking at, I suppose, the continuous rolling lockdown that's happening, then obviously, hopefully looking towards an easing of restrictions, and also, I suppose, the longer view of what is the world of work going to look like, what are the challenges we're going to have on a personal basis and on a collective basis in terms of returning to the workplace. And with that in mind, we have decided that today would be a very good opportunity to introduce some tools and a little bit of guidance on that side of things. And Sean is the very man that can provide that kind of information and guidance. So without any further ado from me, I'll hand you over to Sean Connolly. And Sean, take it away and maybe just do a little introduction to yourself.
Okay, thank you, Declan. I'm just going to do the screen share here and get the PowerPoint on. Just number one is to stop me running into other things. I carry a lot of information in my head, and I want to keep to the main topic here. So, okay. So, let's see now. Okay, so as Declan said, I work in performance, personal performance. And as you can see from this, I've worked with a variety and range of professionals in the corporate industry and the sporting and performing arts industry. But in my perception, in my view of what I do, I just work with the same thing. I can't give all these people the practice of their skills, the thousands of hours, days, weeks, months, and years that has honed those skills. What I do is I go in and I show them how to enhance them, especially under pressure. I teach them how to change state as well. Because if we look at these, you know, even the likes of the Bank of Ireland would have brought me in when there was changes in management. Human beings don't like change. It causes discomfort. And that's what we're going through at the moment. Everybody with this pandemic, we've been forced into change. It hasn't adapted slowly the way it's supposed to. And it took a lot of people outside their comfort zone. With sports, again, if people's moving up, they're having challenges, then again, there's change, there's self-doubt, the feeling changes inside. And that's where I would come in and show them how to change state. The likes of the motor racers, the motorbike racers. This guy here was 125 and 250 Irish champion, raced around the world, but he was moving from a 250 motorbike to a 600cc. So again, that's change. It's change in the speed, the weight of the bike. So my job is to go in and make it feel comfortable, to make him feel as if he was sitting on the 250. The young guy at the top here, standing with Conor McGregor. He, like most skilled athletes, he would probably been the top guy in the country at his weight for boxing, but no self-belief. So they brought him to me. I'd done 3 or 4 sessions with him. He went on and won his next 17 fights, beat the Russian, Spanish champions, and Conor McGregor snapped him up as a sparring partner. He moved to Australia, and he's now Australian light heavyweight professional boxer. So it's just, you'll see as we go on, it's about understanding how we work from the inside. Because everything we do, everything your staff does, it starts with a feeling. And it's the feeling will either drive them towards something or drive them away from it. It will cause them to procrastinate, develop bad habits, or develop good habits and cause them to enhance their performance. They're not my rules, they're just the rules of how we work. I've took advanced psychology and I've simplified it for children. That's why it works so quickly. I find, and I've been told that, I've lectured in a lot of universities on my work. A lot of doctors of psychology have told me that I've took their advanced work and simplified it for a child. A lot of my work over the years has been with children in performing arts, not just here, but around America, Canada. And I was to go to Australia just when the COVID came out, and that was cancelled. So a lot of these people recognize that the results can come a lot quicker, and that I have it simplified. And that's taken me it's only took me about 25 years of practice. I'm still learning. I learn off everybody I work with. because I think if you believe you know it all, you're finished. We have to keep growing. Again, it's a law that if you're not growing, if something's not growing in life, it has to be dying. So we have to keep learning and experiencing new things, challenging ourselves and stepping outside our comfort zone. So in the world of business, this is the perception of what we are supposed to have as leaders, as directors or managers. You have to be focused. You must have good people skills, building rapport with individuals, with different personality types. You must be self-driven. You must be enduring, which is another word for resilience. You must have good work-life balance, self-control, adaptability, vision, and self-confidence. Easy. Not so in reality. And again, these things we're told, and we can try and work on them and work on your life outside work, but it's not always easy. And this is usually the outcome. There's even a myth in business that we have to be mentally tough, but to me, it's about being more resilient. If you're too tough, if you're pushing yourself too much, if you're carrying too much stress, then the end result is breakdown, mental breakdown, physical breakdown. And this is well documented. Hans Sell, the endocrinologist and leading authority on the world on stress research, publicized every year that the #1 killer in the Western world is stress, because it will slowly suppress your immune system. And at this time in life, what's going on around us, our main objective should be to keep our immune system intelligent, because it is very intelligent and it's very strong. The #1 thing that will suppress it is stress, worry, fear, and self-doubt. And that's why I'm a big advocate for working on these things with ourselves. And I was saying to Declan earlier that if you know how you work, when you have these processes, you know how your staff works, you know how to build self-belief in people, you will know how to motivate people as well and build rapport with them. So it's down to the foundation of all my work is self-knowledge. So resilience, as I said earlier, resilience to me is very, very important. And it's not being hard and brittle. It's adapting to change, overcoming loss, asking people for support, being able to change your state, how you feel at any given moment, and moving forward constantly. One of my favorite sayings is, if you have to fall forward, get up again and keep moving forward. And if you need support, if you need people to carry you, then ask for support. It's not a sign of weakness. So resilience is something that everybody should have, and it should be part of the training in any workforce, I believe, because if your staff are having problems outside the workplace, they will bring them into the workplace. It will affect their progression. It will affect their performance, and it will affect their health through time. So many people will be off sick. So to me, it is the jewel in the crown of a personal performance. So, and as we see here, there's many aspects to a human life. Having a healthy, balanced life. A lot of this has been taken away from us and those people who work with us or for us. You know, friendships and families were not allowed to meet through lockdown. A lot of people have been neglecting their health through, maybe drinking alcohol, making it a habit every night. Their physical surroundings, they're looking at four walls. A lot of people don't mind working from home. Some people, it's driving them crazy. Again, because maybe they have a house full of young children, there's noise pollution. Love and romance, it can get a bit tight if you're with somebody 24/7. Again, it depends on the individual. Personal growth, spirituality, fun and recreation has been taken away from everybody, really, especially the young ones. So, and finances. So this wheel has to run. It has to be balanced. And at the moment, a lot of people are finding an imbalance in their life, and it is causing stress, anxiety, and anger for a lot of individuals. So getting back to the self-knowledge, we should be able to change state. We should be able to have that emotional intelligence. So this is about getting people back into the workplace after the change, the big changes. Some people are getting comfortable working from home, depending on the profession. I was giving talks for an IT company. They specialize in building websites and online marketing. And the owner was telling me that they're very comfortable, a lot of them not having to travel to work and doing work from home. He's old school and would like them to be back in the workplace. So we're looking at how to motivate these individuals back into the workplace. After the first lockdown, I also done a talk for an engineering company in County Down, and it was about making the staff comfortable again coming back, because some of them, not all, there's two in particular, were very nervous about COVID and didn't want to be in a building with anybody else. So during the talk, most of the staff were the 2 meters apart. One of the girls sat right at the corner at the door with the door open. So it was trying to convince her and change her perception of what was going on, instead of hiding and trying not to get hurt, guiding yourself with fear instead of the courage. It was about changing her perception on her ability to ward off viruses and educate her on the intelligence and the strength of her immune system. Again, and I've seen students, I've had to go and talk to students who were very paranoid that their family was going to die, that they were going to die, and they were constantly watching the news, constantly every day watching the news. You get what you focus on. If you focus on what you don't want, you tend to get it. If you focus on what you don't want to feel, if you fight with certain negative emotions, that's what you're going to get. So it's about changing perceptions, changing mindsets. And when you change that with an individual and with ourselves, you change what goes on in here, because most of the functions inside start with a feeling. How do you know that you've had a bad day? You feel bad. How do you know something's dangerous? You feel fear. How do you know you're capable of getting through an exam or doing well at an interview or overcoming a challenge? You feel it. There's a belief that there's a feeling that tells you I am capable, and it builds images of things going right. Or there's another feeling that tells you I am not capable. I can't deal with this. Get me out of here. So whatever you feel inside starts internal dialogue in your head and builds images, because as a human being, we're always moving towards images. For you to move from one room to another, or from your home to your workplace, you have to have images and points of reference in pictures. So if you want to change your future, if you want to change your performance, you must learn to change how you feel. You must learn to control that, what's inside yourself. And there's nobody else can do it, only you. Because where these feelings come from, you have to access parts of your own autobiography, really, and parts of yourself. So in reality, I don't give anybody anything. I teach them processes and how they can bring more out of themselves, because you don't really need anything. You have everything that you already need, and so does all your staff, but they've no knowledge of it. You don't know what you don't know. So it's learning these processes where you can take back control, where you can feel that you're accepted, you accept yourself, you accept everything around you, you feel in control, and you feel safe. We all want to feel safe. That's the highest human intention, the strongest human need, the safety and survival. So everything that we do around that is really to satisfy that need. Okay, so Develop skills and techniques for self-motivation. And that's what we need to do to get people back into the office, back into a routine, back into a ritual, is develop the skills of motivation. And what is motivation? It's a feeling. It's a feeling that will move you forward. If there's a lack of motivation, then there's no movement. There's procrastination, or there may be fear, and it might move you back. So it's, again, looking at the feeling, where it comes from. And there's only 3 types of human motivation. We all know about the pain and pleasure, where we move away from pain or the thought of it, and we're moving towards pleasure and benefits. But there's a higher form, and it's where courage comes out as well, and it's having something outside yourself that's bigger than you, pleasing you. So again, if you, and I've worked with channel swimmers, desert runners, endurance athletes. The first thing I do with them, because I know when things get really tough for those individuals, if things get dangerous, then their mind will look for a way out, an excuse not to continue. They'll even bring injuries on unconsciously. So the first thing I do is get them to sign up for a charity. First place I will bring them is either Children's Hospice, Make-A-Wish Foundation, something. So when things get really tough, rather than let those children down, they'll continue on and they'll go that extra mile. So that's purpose. That's the highest motivator. So again, if there's somebody going to the workplace and it's just for them, if things are getting tough or there's change or discomfort, they look for an excuse not to go. But if they're made to realize it's not just about you, it's about your family. It's about your children watching you, having a routine, being consistent in your habits, then they have another perspective on it, and you've brought in a bigger motivation than just what's in it for them. What's the painful side of not going to work? What's the painful side of not getting back into your routine? Yeah. So you use all 3. We all will have one stronger than the other, but if you use all 3, then you're not missing anything. So these are the Maslow's needs. Physiological needs: air, water, foods. That's why people go to work. That's why we need money. Safety needs: again, you need a job, you need money for this, and to keep your kids safe. Resources: health, property, love and belonging, friendship, intimacy, family, and a sense of connection. A lot of people actually get that in the workplace. If you look at, a lot of people like the social environment of the workplace. A lot of people have good friends in work, and they're spending more time with these individuals than they would actually do with their own family. A lot of people are missing that. My youngest son just started school again on Monday, and he was so excited to get his uniform on and get in and see his friends and get back into the normality of a routine. And I was saying to Declan, it seems I love getting my suit on. There is this ritual, and you become this other person as you go to work. And I think a lot of people are missing that. So in the same way that the children were excited to get back to school, a lot of people out there will be excited to get back into the workplace and to have that routine again. Obviously, there will be a small minority, depending on their profession, that are happy enough to sit in the house. That depends on their personality. Again, we're looking at 9 different personalities here that individuals are born with. So some people are happy enough to be at the back of the room or sitting on their own. Again, that's back to self-knowledge. You must understand your personality, your deeper compulsions as an individual, so that you can work yourself better and bring yourself into more balance. And the good thing I always liked about these type of tests was you begin to understand that everyone is not like you. Everybody has a different compulsion, a different personality. So you begin to respect that and understand that, you know, once you get good at it, you can actually see the personalities, and you know how to work with somebody, how to build rapport, and how to actually help that individual. So self-esteem, esteem is it's a massive resource for anybody. A lot of people, especially athletes, would come to me for confidence. And funny enough, most of the athletes who want me to get rid of their fear are actually professional cage fighters and boxers. I always tell them, you can't get rid of fear because it's natural. But what you can replace it with something different. These feelings come and go. So self-esteem is more important than confidence. Confidence is easy. Confidence comes and goes like motivation. Nobody's motivated all the time. Nobody's confident all the time at everything. Self-esteem has to be good. It has to be strong all the time, especially in our youth. If you have children yourself, self-esteem is everything because it's self-perception. So you have to have a good perception on yourself, because if your self-esteem is external, it's dangerous. It can be taken away from you. Because if I only feel good when you're making me feel good or telling me that I'm good, what happens when you're not there? What happens if people are behaving in a way, verbally or non-verbally, that I'm not good? Then that's going to affect me. So again, it goes back to what I spoke about earlier, self-knowledge. Know what you're good at. Know what is a potential strength, something you can be good at when you practice it more, because there's no such thing as a weakness. That's a word I say is made up by adults. A weakness is something you haven't practiced. There's only potential strength. So in reality, nobody in the world is better than you at anything. They've just practiced longer. And we have to learn, even teaching our young ones that, you know, don't be looking up to people, respect them and learn from them. Only look up to yourself. Self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. And again, there's a lot of self-driven people who are trying to be the best they can be in different careers, in business and in sport. That's been taken away from them at the moment. But we have to reset and get back on track. So these big changes have brought all this on. The guilt, the leaving the comfort zone, fear of upsetting others, fear of loss, rumors of change. Again, the rumors, the conspiracy theories, if people are buying into that, it causes more confusion and more fear. Self-doubt. Self-doubt is very damaging. Self-doubt means you know nothing about yourself, how to change. You're doubting your own ability. If an individual has the self-doubt to go back and carry on where they left off, if there's self-doubt around that, that person has forgotten who they are, they've forgotten their ability, and they have forgotten their years of practice. Fear of the unknown. Change, when you look at it, is inevitable in life. Actually, the oldest book ever written is the I Ching, the Book of Change. Everything in life changes. Your body changes, the weather changes, your style changes, your friends change over the years, your habits. Change is going on constantly, but yet when change happens, self-doubt comes in and people think, I can't deal with this. Of course you can. You're a master of change. You've been living with change your whole life. Yeah? But you need to remind yourself about that. To see change as an opportunity. Again, if you look around you, depending on the business, some businesses are flourishing during this pandemic, and some have just stopped. I have a friend who bought a hotel recently, just before the lockdown. I've some friends who would manage hotels in the town who I've worked with. And then you have restaurant owners. I have other friends who've had family restaurants most of their life and they've just stopped dead. One of them actually put £1 million into refurbishing the whole thing. It got open for 1 week and then it was locked down again. But he's changing his state. He goes jogging. He goes walking in the mountains with me twice a week. He practices meditation now. So he's very aware when this opens up again, because it will open up, nothing lasts forever. He will be in his right frame of mind and healthy and strong to get going. And when we talk about ideas, if you fell down a hole in the road, say a 25-foot hole, and it's clay all around the sides, if I asked you to give me 20 methods to get out of that hole, you probably couldn't come up with one. But if you fell down that hole, you will come up with 20 methods very quickly. And a lot of us are down this hole at the minute, and some people are getting very creative on how to turn things around, how to adapt to the change, how to flourish again when we come out of this. It's given them time to hit the reset button, disassociate from the business, disassociate from the problem, and brainstorm new ideas. Other people are just sitting in the house thinking, oh, poor me, this isn't my fault. Why did this happen? Be resilient, deal with it, get creative, and get moving again. Yeah, there's only life in movement. So change can be an opportunity for many. This is, to me, represents the belief. We must build a belief in ourselves and what we do in our career, in our business. In business, we're really just problem solvers. We have a solution for a problem in somebody's life at some level. That's what business is about. People only buy solutions to problems. Doesn't matter what business you're in, but you have to believe in the business. And that's why it's so important to have a mission and vision statement. What is your mission? What changes are you making in the world around you? It's the same with the placebo tablet. There's been one of the researches I read was 6 professors of medicine given $5 billion by the American government to study the placebo. How is it so powerful? How can somebody be given sugar tablets and it'll cure symptoms? It'll make depression go away. The surgeons, there's a surgeon in Houston, Texas. He's operating on the menisci cartilage in the knee. It doesn't heal, it has very little blood supply, but yet it's healing, and he's just washing it out. He's pretending he's doing the surgery. So there's a amount of, and this is the power of belief. So to me, that means that we should be working on belief, a belief in ourselves, and make it as strong as the placebo. Because if we're not, the opposite is it can become a nocebo, a negative belief. I'm not strong enough. I'm not resilient enough. My immune system's not strong enough. So you've 2 choices. So it makes sense to me to build on the placebo for the self. Believe in yourself. A lot of people are successful at achieving and mastering many skills in life. However, when that individual is asked to move towards a new skill or goal, they become confused, stressed, or lose confidence in themselves and begin to question their ability to finish the job. A lot of people won't even start the job. If you're asking, and I've seen this in the past, I've had managers sent to me who were brought up to senior level, and then suddenly they believe that, oh, it's not for me. I can't deal with this. I can't cope. And in some cases, it was, I don't deserve this position. It was a low self-esteem. So again, you have to feel that you're worth it, and you have to remind yourself that you're capable of the skills. Okay, they might be new skills. Have you ever learned anything new before? Yeah, lots of things. Yeah, everything you're good at was new at one time, but you practiced it. And the side effect of practice for a human being is progression. Even if you try not to get good, You will get good at it when you practice. Cutting through the obstacles that can hold you back from progression. Obstacles can be both external and internal. External is usually being influenced by other people, listening to people who try and destroy your aspirations and your dreams, or maybe they're worried about you. Maybe they're people who have never moved outside their comfort zone, and they watch you taking a risk and they're frightened of you getting hurt. So they'll try and talk you out of it. So surround yourself with good people. That's why it's good to be in business groups. And if you're not even in a group, have mastermind meetings with other people in business, just to keep on top of things and help each other grow and support people, support each other with that growth. So internal obstacles are beliefs. We've looked at core values, self-perception, and how our brain stores pictures, as well as internal dialogue. It's believed that 70% of our beliefs have been programmed into our minds by parents, peers, and past experiences. Well, that's a fact. Up until the age of 16, you're programmed like a computer on a subconscious level. And that part of your mind is actually 88% of the total mind. So it's very strong. And that's, again, there's methods of finding out what are the empowering beliefs, but what are the disempowering beliefs? And then there's a way of breaking them down so that you can replace them. So, and this is a familiar image of I spoke about this earlier, the detrimental effects of long-term stress and anxiety for a human being. It will suppress all the systems in the body: gastrointestinal system, endocrine system, musculoskeletal. It'll affect everything. So, and as I said earlier, what is stress? Stress is your body, your nervous system telling you, I can't deal with this. If somebody that works for you is feeling stress, they feel overwhelmed. The nervous system is telling them, I cannot deal with this. So they have to be taught, do you know what? You can deal with this. And the feeling changes. You switch the belief, the self-perception. Train your mind to control your emotions and stress. Again, emotions, there are thousands of them, and with different labels, different names for them. But again, keeping it simple, you only have one emotion. An emotion is energy in motion running through your nervous system. It's a frequency. So the highest frequency a human being can feel is contentment and inner peace. The lowest a human being can feel is apathy or depression. It's the lowest frequency. Each frequency has a message for your brain. So apathy, depression is an individual. It's telling them, I can't help myself and nobody can help me. You turn it up, it goes to grief. I can't help myself, but I will let you help me. Then fear, fight, flight, or freeze. Then from fear, lust. I don't like this feeling, so I'll change it outside myself by eating something nice constantly, drinking alcohol. Some people take pills. It's this lusting something external to change the internal. You turn it up again, it turns to anger. Something's not fair. You want to strike out, but there's a fear of striking out. Usually turns inside then, turns against the individual. So that'll move right up. But it's only one frequency and it fluctuates. So once you understand that, you can again change the frequency, which will change the message for that individual. So learn to relax without external stimulants. Again, there's easy processes. You don't have to go and live in a monastery to learn how to relax properly or take control of the emotions. There's simple processes that anybody can learn, and you've given them a bit of personal power back again to be able to actually switch off. So even during lockdown, I lost out on a lot of, I've been doing martial arts and boxing from the age of 12. I'm 53 now. I missed out on the excitement of class. So I started taking up different things, going to the mountains. A lot of business owners and self-employed friends of mine, I took them to the mountains, would teach them breathing, we'd go swimming in the sea, just to keep everybody active. So this is this is how I changed my state. I actually went cliff jumping as well, jumping off cliffs into the sea, which I'd never done before, but it was just an adrenaline rush that I missed. And I would go exploring the mountains on my own. On the left, here's some of the groups that I've taken away as well. But there's no excuse. If you've got a creative mind, you can change state and you can make yourself do anything, or you can stop yourself doing anything. It's really up to us as individuals. So this is what you're working with, really. This is all I work with. And it's like the yin and yang of the human body. The fight or flight side is the sympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic is what calms you down. You can't be too calm all the time, too relaxed, and you can't be hypertonic all the time. We have to have that balance. And that's really, that's the secret to your health as well. So I think that's us. Yep.
Yep. Thanks very much, Sean. That was very interesting.
Any questions? I was saying to Declan that once you know how you work, you know how your staff work to a certain degree, and you'll be able to help them more as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very interesting. Thank you very much, Sean. I think what you've discussed there, and obviously, that's kind of an overview, but it's very applicable from what I could see in terms of what you can apply to the work environment, whether you're a business owner or whether you're actually an individual looking at going back to work. I think we spoke about this yesterday, was the fundamentals of knowing yourself and knowing about yourself. So I think that was something very interesting. I think there's a couple of questions there. Keith, you have a question?
Maybe I have to unmute them there. Let me see. Is Keith there, is he?
We'll just see a hand going up, so I'm not sure if that was a question. If anybody has any questions, you can pop them into the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself there, and if there's any questions. Stunned silence, always a good thing. Stunned silence. Everybody is just trying to evaluate what they've heard, Sean, and I suppose, again, I suppose, look, we're all dealing with a very difficult set of circumstances. I mean, overriding from that, Sean, if people are, I suppose, a question in my head, if people are, dealing with a situation whereby they're not in their workplace, their terms of reference, their points of reference have changed. They've been at home for a number of months. They may be in a situation whereby they're on a pandemic payment or whatever, and they're so it's nearly like becoming a situation where the government has taken over the wheel of their lives. In effect, you're only allowed to go a certain distance from your house. You're only allowed to do certain things. You can't see certain members of your family only in certain circumstances. So what do you think is kind of the key elements that somebody in that situation, as they possibly head out into the workplace again, or the new normal, what do you think are the fundamentals that they need to be looking at?
You need to focus on what you're empowered to change. A lot of the external, what's going on, we can't change it. A lot of people are protesting about it, and they are angry that they did not, cause this change. But as I kept repeating there, all you are in control of is your perception and how you feel about it. And at the end of the day, what people want to do is they want to feel good. They want to feel accepted. They want to feel safe. They want to feel in some sort of control. But that's all internal. So you need to spend time focusing on you to make sure. And when you're right, as I showed you earlier on, that wheel of life, you're the center of that wheel. So if the if the axle and the wheel isn't centered and strong, the wheel begins to fall apart. It starts coming out around you, especially with people close to you, if it's suppressed anger. So even just for, I would say to people, for 1 week, focus on yourself. Focus on working on simple things for yourself, understanding, and even gratitude. I was speaking to a lady last night in New York, and she's trying to deal with a lot of this. Her career's on hold, and we were looking at motivation. And one of the things is, when you're grateful for something, it causes coherence in the body. It's stuff you can look up yourself through the heart-mouth association. The brain has its own plexus. It has a heart, and it reacts to emotion before the brain in your head. It's as if it tells this brain what to think and how to react. But the only way to link these two up, because there's a machine that can measure it. A lot of the universities have it now in the elite sports units. I was on it in Ulster University, and the only vibration, the only emotion that will link these two is gratitude. So start focusing on what you're grateful for. Start focusing on what you still have, what you haven't lost, and how you can build on that. Start focusing on the creative ideas that you're coming up with, and be grateful for them, and having a chance to put them into some sort of action plan.
Okay. Question here for you, Sean. How does Sean think the workplace will evolve to assist well-being post the pandemic?
Again, it depends on the workplace, doesn't it? Depends on the actual business itself. What are they putting in place for people coming back? They should be aware of what people are feeling internally, or maybe they should, they'll be having meetings. I think we spoke about this yesterday as well. Some of the companies I know, one in particular, they haven't, his restaurant hasn't opened, but they've had weekly meetings, they've had weekly games online, quiz shows, different things like that. So it really depends on the individuals, the leaders, when they bring the staff back in again. What are they putting in place to make sure that these people are getting to deal with the fears and their doubts? It really depends on the individuals.
But again, I suppose well-being and individual and collective well-being, even before the pandemic, was something that I think businesses are looking at, and there's a lot more focus on the I suppose you call it asset management, from my mind, because the biggest asset to any business is the people that work for the business. And I think it's something that I think companies were kind of focused on, but the pandemic has definitely, I think, put a real focus, and I think it will be something that, from a long-term perspective, I think businesses will be more aware of wellness and health and mental and physical well-being, which will benefit the business as well as the individuals.
I think because of the media is also, and the big push, to do something about mental health in all countries now with what's been going on here. I think it has been slowly moving in, but in the same way, I remember 2 years ago, I was asked to give a talk to a sales team from around the UK, different parts of the UK, and all I worked on was them. And a lot of them said afterwards that they really, really enjoyed it, because their whole 15 to 25 years in sales, nobody had ever worked on them, telling them how to change how you feel if you've had a bad week of sales, how to get yourself back up there again, how to look after your health, your mental health. So we have processes and work skills, processes taught to carry out the job at hand. There should be simple processes taught to staff on how you can maintain the self, how you can be the best version of yourself, and how you can keep your health. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be boring. And people want that, and they can pass it on to their family. There will be that transference in the home. Once somebody gets into this type of development, they want others to know about it. If it's making them feel better, they'll want their family to know about it also, their partners. So it helps balance the wheel.
Very good. Very good.
Sean, a quick question for you. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Michael O'Kane here. I work alongside Declan. A friend of mine put a post up. He works in the civil service, and he put a post up 2 days ago saying that 12 months ago, his boss came in and said to him, "You have to go home." And he says 12 months later, he's still sitting at home with smiley faces, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And he hasn't done a stitch of work in 12 months. Done 1 day's work in 12 months, worked for the civil service. He's as happy as a pig in, as the saying would be. How would you motivate him to go back to work, considering the fact that he's just taken a full year's salary and done no work for it?
Depends on the individual. I need to speak to him and find out what's going on in his head, his perception of his world now, and what motivates him as an individual and what drives him, and also make him understand what he's losing out on. Because
what about his manager's position though? What would you say to the manager to try to talk him? What tips would you be giving the manager to look for within, you know, when speaking to this guy, when starting to introduce him back into the office? The point that I'm making is that he's quite content now. You know, he's done nothing for a year, got a full year's salary. He certainly doesn't look as if sound as if he's motivated to go back into any kind of environment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you have somebody who's happy doing nothing for a year, you know, it says a lot about a person.
Absolutely.
And he's probably his health's probably deteriorating, and his mental health will as well, because as I spoke about earlier, people need that consistency. They need some sort of process to do. Human beings are naturally lazy. And if you start taking things off them and make them comfortable, they want to become more and more comfortable. And that's just the rules of the sub-mind. It's a pleasure seeker, the addictive mind. So there's that danger. But if I was writing him out an email, I would actually spell out of what he's actually getting in the workplace, and start off by saying, you know, we're all very aware that we've lost our self-esteem, has he got a family, has he? Is Michael still on, is he?
No, he seems to have jumped off.
But if that individual has a family, what sort of message is he sending out to his children? You know, so he has to be aware of all this. He has to be aware of the whole picture, because he's probably not aware of it. A lot of people are not aware. So there's no sort of shortcut to just hit a button. It's put what I've spoke about in the PowerPoint about the human needs. We need that sense of achievement. We need that consistency in the I don't even know what he's away, but don't know what the job entails. So it's not just a one shoe fits all. I need to speak to the manager, know what's entailed in the workplace, and then work out a strategy to convince this individual that there's more benefits in his life now and in the future of getting himself back into the workplace.
Sean, quick question for you, and apologies. It's like that meme that goes around. I was actually on mute and I was talking and I couldn't get off mute. So apologies. So the joys of technology and working from home, right?
Yeah.
Listen, first and foremost, thanks a million for the great presentation. It was very informative. I really enjoyed it, touching on an awful lot of stuff that I believe in and thoroughly enjoy reading about as well. But just from your perspective, you know, we're meant to be coming out of lockdown on the 5th of April. Fingers crossed, all goes well. But there's still an awful lot of anxiety. You know, I know myself personally speaking, you know, I can suffer with a bit of anxiety. You see on the news, you know, we're going to be extended, all this type of stuff. If there was anything you could say, you know, there's one or two tools. I meditate, I read, but is there anything in your professional toolbox that you could say, look, you know, I would recommend doing this to sort of alleviate levels of anxiety? You know, would it be, you know, turning off the news, don't pay any attention or whatever? But is there anything, sort of one or two little tips that you could give someone to sort of help deal with the increasing levels of anxiety that's out there?
On a personal note, if there's anxiety, if the body's in a you see, anxiety and stress are two different things. And a lot of people, even in books, they get mixed up about it. Stress comes and goes. Okay. Anxiety, the stress is there all the time. So the body goes into a hypertonic stage. Starts at a subtle level, but it's like if I'm holding that fist as tight as I can, I'll get used to that. But then the muscles start getting into spasm. I'll be restricting the circulation. I'll be trapping nerves through time. And then eventually I can't hold it, exhausts, and it burns out. And this is what happens. People work on anxiety, and then suddenly there's burnout. The adrenal glands burn out. They're exhausted. Yeah, take themselves to bed, or the body makes itself sick to make them rest. So if it's getting to that, look at the origin of the anxiety. If it's there all the time, there's an origin. It came from somewhere. So you need to start looking at where is the core of this, and then you start working at changing the perceptions of that, or you can go back into the memory again. Anxiety it's like doctors saying lumbago, lower back pain. It can come from a lot of different things. So, but with you're talking about the if people can't relax, I get them funny. One of the last retreat, I had a guy who he builds cars or does something bespoke cars, but he couldn't relax at all when we were doing our qigong and our breathing practices on the beach before the swim. So he says, I can't relax. This is actually agitating me. And I says, okay, I want you to tense your whole body, lock it all down. I said, so you can hold that tension for the next 30 minutes because we're just going to breathe here. And I says, and after about 5 minutes, he went, okay, I get it. Yeah. And then he started to relax. So you give the body what it wants. If it wants tension, give it more, until it goes, I don't want this anymore. And then you take it gradually into the relaxation through the breathing patterns. You'll take your brain waves down into an alpha state where the body doesn't want to move. The mind gets, the external focus is gone. And then you can use that for creative visualization, meditation, self-hypnosis, whatever floats your boat. Yeah. So there's if it's tense, give it tension. A lot of people find, I used to take qigong classes a long time ago, 6:30 in the morning, and actually some of the surgeons from the city hospital used to come before they went to work, and they loved it, said it got them focused, and they would still practice before they go in there to surgery. They'd go into the office, clear their head, get into the breathing, feel grounded, balanced, and then go in and do their work. It's very simple. It's just a process. It's not magical. If somebody can do something in this life, we can all do it. We can do it as good as them, but we can learn the process. That's what I always say.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Sean.
Well, Sean, I think we'll bring the session to an end now. I think it was very enlightening. And I want to thank everybody for attending. Hopefully you've gained something out of it. I think it was very, very enlightening, and I think a lot of food for thought, I suppose, as we go on. If there's anybody that needs anything from any follow-up, we will be following up with everybody that has been on the call, and obviously we're available. If there's any further questions, feel free to contact us. We will be in touch, just looking for some feedback, and obviously this is the first of a number of seminars and a number of webinars, that we will be running. So keep an eye on our website and just on our social media and on our LinkedIn, etc. And we'll obviously send out any invites as well to participants here for future webinars. So thank you very much, Sean. It was really interesting. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.